about 6 feet of gums on top and bottom that do not move the entire time this creature is speaking. Go. What's up?
How are you doing today?
Well, I probably would be a lot better had I not watched this movie.
That is a fair statement. For our listeners out there, we have switched the format just a little bit today. We are testing out movie critiques, movie reviews, just a movie discussion on a low budget.
Unbelievably low budget.
It feels like a film school project that somebody maybe got a B minus on.
And that's giving them a little grace.
Yeah, maybe. It's not exactly Citizen Kane. The movie that we are discussing today is Tooth Fairy: A Drill to Kill.
Yeah, I unknowingly watched this movie on your suggestion, with it being the 5th in the series of Tooth Fairy movies.
I did not realize. So the reason that I picked this movie, it was because it has shown up in my Peacock, like, you might also like movies 100 times because I've been in a stint of really bad, like, low budget horror movies, starting with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and did not realize that this one was actually originally titled Tooth Fairy 5, which feels like the first 2 movies were the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Larry the Cable Guy ones. I feel like some people might get confused in the same way that, the Jack Frost movies might be confused. I definitely did not watch the, other Jack Frost on accident, but I wish that I had. I wish that I had not actively sought out that god-awful movie. Did you ever watch that one?
Eaton?
No.
No, I haven't seen the killer Jack Frost one. I've only seen the heartwarming movie about the snowman trying to make his way back to his family.
To be fair, even the good one is real creepy.
Very.
Heartwarming story, sure, but CGI is just rough.
But they are able to get his mannerisms to shine through in snowman form very well in that movie.
This is true. Maybe I am not on the right side of this argument.
Maybe.
Plenty of people will disagree.
Perhaps.
So, Tooth Fairy: A Drill to Kill, unfortunately the 5th in the franchise. A brief little spoiler-filled synopsis of this movie in 60 seconds or less. A year after a not really explained mass murder of a classroom of children on a field trip, the love child of the girl from The Ring and Rocky Dennis returns to kill the surviving teacher and her new coworkers. The movie, for some reason, is subtitled A Drill to Kill, but contains both 0 drills and 0 real stakes, as all the deaths seem to happen in slow motion. After the deaths of a security guard, the obligatory about to have sex couple, and someone who I'm pretty sure was the principal but is not given a shred of backstory, the sister of the surviving teacher and her friend escape the school only to be murdered one scene later. It is revealed 10 minutes to the end of this painfully slow movie that the killer used to be punished for not brushing her teeth because her mother claimed the devil hid in cavities or some such nonsense. Now she's out here doing the greater good of ridding people of the devil by killing them and ripping out their teeth.
Okay. First off, I'm coming in hot. So the entire time you're waiting to see, and again, this was my first foray into the Tooth Fairy franchise. So I have no backstory. I don't know if they explain this at some other point in the first 4, but you're waiting for some sort of justification for why this supernatural silly person is killing these people and taking their teeth. And then you find out that it's because she says the devil hides in rotten teeth. Okay, sure. That makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is every single kill, she is just non-discerningly bashing people's teeth out and then just collecting them.
They also all have really nice teeth.
They all have really nice teeth, yeah, which is funny because it's not until almost 3 minutes into the film that you realize that all these people are either British or Scottish, or not Scottish, Irish, when they start talking. And I don't know, if you're trying to collect healthy teeth, I don't think the UK is where I'm going.
Well, she's not trying to collect healthy teeth, right? Isn't that why she's going after the
But
Brits?
she is, she does. She collects healthy teeth the entire movie. There's not a shred of gingivitis on any of the teeth that she ends up with,
How could you tell? As soon as she strikes, their mouths are full of awful CGI fake blood and loose teeth.
of just loose teeth that they spit out. There's one scene towards the end where this woman gets hit with a hammer in the forehead and then lays on the ground, and then just a little pool of drool blood comes out, and then along with it, like four perfectly fine teeth just all plop down on the floor.
It's a magic hammer. She's like Fix It Felix, but wrong.
It's a magic lots of stuff. Physics does not play a heavy role in this movie.
It does not. The stage fighting is a feast unto itself. I've not I'm absolutely unqualified to talk about almost all of this aside from the fact that I do love a good low budget movie, but I don't think it is that hard to fake stab someone in a movie. Like, it's just a matter of perspective, and they don't it doesn't look like any of the weapons get anywhere near the person that they're theoretically harming,
Yeah.
except for the first girl, the one who survived the original attack, who gets chiseled in the mouth, and that chisel actually does make contact.
So so the movie starts out with like the tropiest trope of all horror movies. I understand why it can be unsettling if you hadn't seen it a trillion times before. An establishing shot of just a building. You can't tell what the building is, but then there's like these paint can planter things on strings that are in this little like makeshift garden, and then they're just swinging in the wind. And that is what is going to set the tone for this whole movie. And then after that, it switches to a face-on shot of a building with a playground in the foreground. It's called, what is it? Claire's House School, which I'm assuming it's like is it a daycare? Is it a just a elementary school?
I think it's supposed to be an elementary school.
Because the layout of the building makes no sense whatsoever. But the thing that catches your eye is the fact that the playground off to the side is completely unlevel and crooked. Did you notice that?
I did not.
Yeah, it is very crooked and very distracting.
I might have to go rewatch that first scene again. I was not as tuned in to set design until things started happening, or until we got to the teacher's lounge that is decorated in the most ridiculous fashion.
And like blood red walls.
Blood red walls, and for some reason, it's just one giant, like, conference room table covered in a zebra print tablecloth.
Mhm.
There's a whiteboard on one side, and that's it.
Oh, I've got plenty to say about the set design. And I hope they're listening because these movies can be something. And you just have to be a little receptive to criticism.
This is true, yeah. This one was built for the Razzies, for sure.
Yeah. Just an overall opinion or an overall statement about the movie is that they keep referencing that it is a school night, implying that there's going to be school the next day. At no point during this entire one flashback, and it makes no sense. It takes place with kids in a basement that look completely fine, and they're just like, ah! And then the tooth fairy's up at the top of the staircase. That's literally the only children you see in this entire movie. And every bit of it happens during the day, except for one scene, like, maybe, uh, 10 minutes into the start of the movie.
And that's when Sammy is killed.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I will give it is that, it did do the protagonist switcheroo on us.
Is that in the pros column? Are you for
I
protagonist?
wasn't expecting it. I mean, it worked because you follow the story of this first lady, and then 20 minutes in, when you finally get the title card of the movie after she dies, and then you realize that she wasn't the protagonist. There's actually this lady that's gonna be taking over the rest of the movie, being a sad sack and a terrible actress, but neither here nor there.
As far as the everything takes place during the day, the thing one of the bits of dialogue that irritated me the most, it was a very little part of the dialogue I could actually understand of the villain because I needed subtitles for every bit of that. She sounds like RFK.
Okay.
Did she not? She had the same, like, vocal affectation just with a British accent. I'm not saying it's a negative.
I was trying to place it, and the closest thing I could come up with is one of the munchkins from The Wizard of Oz with emphysema. Is what the tooth fairy sounded
Okay.
like.
Munchkin with emphysema. Alright, let's go with that. But the one of the only parts of dialogue that I could actually understand without the subtitles was that the tooth fairy in question goes, "It's almost time for the children to come back." Like, they're about to be skipping their merry way over here or something like that, and, like, has a whole night transpired? Are we at the next day already?
That's what it would imply, but never once did that happen.
The sun does not go down. What time is this school? Did it get out at 6 in the morning?
For a movie that takes almost entirely place inside of a building, you have a real good grasp on what time of day it is outside, and it is never nighttime.
Yeah.
So after you get your establishing shots, you find out that they're in a school. You are greeted by the first protagonist, who is Sammy, and like we said, she's a maybe elementary teacher. The walls are a little much. It seems like they just Googled pictures of what like a first grade room would look like, and they just picked everything, and they got a big mat on the floor, which is very, very appropriate for first grade. But did you notice that there was not a single desk in that room except for the one that Sammy was sitting at grading papers?
I did, yeah. One of the things that, like, threw me, and this is entirely based on my own assumptions, I think, do they teach kids in the UK Spanish?
That's what I was wondering too.
Almost all of the decorations had the English and the Spanish version of the words they like, the numbers and letters and stuff. Do they teach Spanish?
I mean, they speak Spanish in Spain, right?
Well, yeah,
But yeah, I don't know if it would be prevalent enough for them to need to advertise it onto the walls. You would think that it would be like French, German,
that's kind of what I was
something
thinking.
more like that than just Spanish.
If I'm wrong, by all means, shoot us a
Let us
message,
know.
leave us a comment. I'm so
Let us know
curious.
how prevalent Spanish class is in the UK. So you've got Sammy, and she's sitting there grading papers. Did you get a chance to look at the paper that she was grading?
It was just like a worksheet with a bunch of pictures, right? That was just like missing letters.
It was like, yeah, it was like a fill in the blank, and you
Yeah.
put in the picture, or you put in the right in the word. The thing is that all the pictures, all the words that you were supposed to fill in on the line were right next to the picture, or all the pictures that you were supposed to fill in the blank with were next to the sentence. For instance, the first sentence reads, "The fish is sweet," and then right after that's a picture of an apple. I live in a apple, and that's right next to a picture of a house. A plane flies in the air. That one works. And a fish can swim. That one works. And then this one just didn't even make sense because it says, "I do homework at blank," and then you're supposed to fill in the word house.
I do homework at house.
No, you're supposed to fill in the word desk. You're supposed to fill in the word desk, and there's a desk next to it, and it says, "I do homework at desk."
Look at Banner, Michael.
I don't think that Sammy is really working with some scholarship level children.
She's grieving, leave her alone.
Well, she grades the paper and then like laugh sighs. It was like a, and then just stops what she's doing and picks up this picture off her desk of her and some friends by a pool table, and then sets it back down, and then feels a ache in the back of her mouth, and you're like, oh boy, it's going down, it's going down. Tooth fairy's a coming.
It would be so cool if the plot twist was that she was the Tooth Fairy. Maybe that's in Tooth Fairy 6.
I thought there was an inside woman at one point, but I was completely wrong. This movie is not sophisticated enough to pull that off.
They do the picture thing a good amount, which I think is one of the, like, it's a very frustrating trope because it feels like you're building that backstory with no effort.
Mhm.
Whenever Sammy is tied up and is about to get extracted from this world, the Tooth Fairy picks up a picture frame, and it is 3 of the most stock photo-y British children I've seen in my entire life, and she goes, "No, don't do that, those are my children."
What?
Actual ones?
What?
School ones? Because it's weird if you just have a framed picture of 3 of your students in your home. I'm not a teacher. I don't know where the line is drawn, but I feel like it's sooner than that.
If you're gonna have pictures of your students, especially in your house,
Gotta be all of them.
it's going to be pictures that you are in. Yeah, and probably not individual students. It's weird.
As a parent, I feel like I would have been uncomfortable in that situation knowing that my kid's teacher had a framed picture of him in their
It's
house.
weird. Emily's a teacher. We don't display other children in our house, but there are photos here of her with some students, but they're not up on the wall. That's strange and that is bizarre. And if I found out that one of the teachers had like a headshot of one of the kids just on their mantle, I'd be asking some questions.
It feels like a picture that came with the frame. And I was really hoping that there would just be one of those, like, the prop master didn't was like, "This is fine," and there was just, like, a little 5 by 7 and a little barcode at the bottom. Nope, these are just this woman's students. 3 of this woman's students.
She also has a picture of 3 girls on her desk, and then a picture of 2 girls and a boy in one, and then 2 girls and another one. No explanation for those either.
Imagine how much it would suck to be in that classroom if you weren't one of the favored students that got to be on her desk. Like, did these kids give their teacher a present that was just a picture of them?
I mean, I would have to think that rule of thumb would be that if you're going to display student pictures of students, they would not be current class students, unless it was the whole class.
Maybe these were the in memoriam kind of pictures? It did sound like her entire class was.
Well, if that's the case, and we know that the 3 adults that are in the other photo by the pool table are also dead, I think someone should be doing some investigation into Sammy and what her extracurriculars are.
I agree. So I was reading the synopsis of it from the actual people, and I assume that this is a thing that is my fault because I picked a movie that is deep into a franchise that I didn't know existed. But it says that her students and her colleagues got killed. And so it is possible that she just has the world's saddest desk that is just tributes to a whole bunch of people who were murdered a year ago. A thing that I feel like you should maybe have brought up in therapy because that doesn't feel any kind of healthy.
Well, she does talk to a therapist.
Yeah, and I feel like her therapist would have some thoughts on her little shrine.
That scene contained the only jump scare that actually got me in the whole movie.
Huh,
But
I'm surprised that one gotcha.
honestly, I just wasn't paying that much attention because I was typing out notes and then I just look up and then boom. So after we see what her work life and how sad it is, she goes and talks to a fellow teacher. And they were like, they talk about the incident. And it's at one point it's referred to as the geography trip, which kept throwing me off because apparently it was like a field trip for geography class, maybe, or maybe people in the UK just call field trips geography trips,
I think that's what it is.
but they kept referring to it as a geography trip. And Sammy is talking to who we find out is Meg, and she's just, oh, I'm so worried about this. I keep seeing her face over and over and over again. And Meg comforts her and says, oh, well, maybe you just need some rest. You get some rest, and then you go home and you come back and you're feeling a lot better. And then she's like, oh, wait, you're not going to be here tomorrow. you're going to be getting a tooth pulled out. And then we're like, oh shit, here it comes. It's coming. We're almost there. She's like, yeah, I hope it doesn't hurt. Well, you'll be knocked out, so you won't even know. All right, well, I'm going to go get home. Love you. Love you, which I thought was weird because we know nothing about their relationship yet. But it's a weird way to leave a coworker.
I mean, after you've watched all of your coworkers die, I feel like that's not out of the realm of possibility. Let them know how you feel.
I guess if all of your coworkers died, I do not want to work with you. So
I mean, that was the whole plot of Blood and Honey 2, Bloodier and Honeyer.
I haven't seen it yet. One day.
Maybe that'll be one of these.
But she walks out into the hallway and fuzzy in the background is this creature thing. And it's behind a half door. Like a yellow door, but it's like all like weird curvy shaped. And it was extremely puzzling. You find out what it is later on in the movie, but it just completely throws off the whole scene. That and you finally see the design for this villain and good gravy. I don't even know, it's like you take skin and you put it loosely over someone's face. You cut out 2 nostrils for eye holes, and then just like gigantic fake mouth with huge teeth, about 6 feet of gums on top and bottom that do not move the entire time this creature is speaking.
If you were going to make your villain something with a mask that does not move, you can dub in the audio.
Not just put a microphone inside the mask.
The whole thing just feels like Bane, but like
Uh,
you can't understand
there's so much reverb.
anything that's happening because it's so muffled.
Oh,
But the mask does definitely give off a leather face if he wasn't really trying kind of vibe.
yeah. Yeah. No insight as to where the look came from. It's not like she was in some horrible dentistry accident.
She might have been.
We wouldn't know. We don't know.
At the end, it goes into the fact that her mom used to punish her if she didn't brush her teeth. We don't know what that looked like.
Is that going to loosen up all your skin and give you nostril eyeballs? I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but maybe. Also, not for nothing, but it is phenomenally messed up that the news calls this the Tooth Fairy murders. They couldn't have gone with like devil dentist. They couldn't have gone with something that was not so like child centered. You're going to ruin any kid with access to the internet looking up whether or not the Tooth Fairy is real is about to see that the Tooth Fairy is real and homicidal.
The patty cake slasher.
You couldn't have gone with something a shred more serious. A whole
Uh,
student body died.
oh, man.
Treat this with just a little bit more levity, a little more gravitas. What is this?
So she walks out of the school to her car. As soon as she walks out of the building, behind a gate is the Tooth Fairy. And I feel like it was moments like these where they couldn't decide if they wanted to leave some mystery and just leave her like fuzzy in the background, or if they wanted to really focus on the Tooth Fairy's costume design and really emphasize it and let you know what you're in for so that you can turn around now. Like this is a perfect example of what the rest of this movie is going to be. So if
Yeah.
you make it to the end, that's on you.
It's just a hodgepodge of different horror movie villains because the Tooth Fairy here has the jumpsuit of the girls from The Shining, has the hair and general vibe of Samara from The Ring,
Yes.
rides a tricycle at some point like Jigsaw,
Like Jigsaw, yeah.
has the leather face going on. Like it's trying to be reminiscent of everything.
Yeah. And she gets into a red Peugeot 207 hatchback, which I tried to do some research. Seems to be like the Kia Soul of that area of the world. So not ostentatious, not fancy. Just get you from point A to point B.
You know, more than the budget of this movie, I'm so curious how long it took to film.
It couldn't have been long.
Like I feel like the whole thing could have been filmed in a week. Maybe I don't know what the like
It could have been the same day.
obviously the post-production stuff looks like, but yeah, I guess technically.
Because there are points in the movie where it looks like dusk, and then you fast forward 20 minutes later into the movie, and then it's noon again. So I don't know. I don't know. I can't see it being like like a 3-week process and waking up every morning, driving into work and knowing that's what you're going into.
I think as a job, this would be a lot of fun. The bar is set fairly low. The lady who dies and is propped up against a wall outside is turned around and falls so that she knows that she's not hurting herself in the
She
fall.
catches
So
herself.
she drops to her knees and catches herself on the wall and then falls backwards in like slow.
Oh, man. Yeah, I picked up on that too.
If she's just died, like rigor mortis is not like she's not stiff.
No.
So how is she propped up? What is holding her against this wall?
To where just a touch can turn her around and yeah. But no, she obviously puts her arm out to brace herself for the fall.
She's also there are no other injuries to almost anyone in this movie aside from the fact that you broke out your teeth. And I don't know how much blood it would take for you to bleed out necessarily, but I think it's more than just getting a couple of your teeth smashed in.
Yeah.
Hockey players could probably attest to that. I don't think that that's enough to kill the average person.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I don't think half of these people would have legitimately died.
Yeah, probably not. It's usually just like a one blow and then they're down and then all of a sudden she's taking their teeth out. But so we go from the car to the therapist and the therapist is just as nutty as everyone else in this movie. They talk about the event. And then this might be on us cuz we haven't seen the previous ones, but there's flashbacks to Sammy being tied up in a chair and then she's on a table and then she's having her teeth being dug out. And then she talks about the kids in the basement. It's just 4 children. One has, like, perfectly done braids. They're completely clean. They're fine. There's a blue, filter over everything, and they're just like, "Help!" And then at the top of the stairs of the basement is just the tooth fairy just standing there, and then it cuts away.
Where did they go on this field trip that has a basement?
Yeah, that's a great question. I couldn't tell you.
What was the destination here? That they could have been trapped in a cellar, basement? Like what?
Maybe they went to, like, a winery? A vineyard?
I know the drinking age is lower, but I don't think it's that low.
Oh, and then, at the end of their session, the therapist says, "Stand up. I want you to try something." She stands up. They face each other. "Close your eyes. Repeat after me. I will not see her face. I will not see her face." Okay, you're cured. You will no longer see her face when you open your eyes. On the count of on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Boom, Tooth Fairy's face. That's the only jump scare, and that's the only one that gave me any kind of feeling because I was distracted and just happened to look up at the right time.
Has it ever worked to tell someone you're just not gonna think of this thing? You can't think of the thing, and they've just not thought of
And
the
then
thing?
be so brazen about now it's fixed. You're healed. But also, one thing I forgot to mention was that the therapist, whenever they were talking about the children's screams, actually said that Sammy needs to learn to link them to something more positive. The screams of these children link them to something more positive.
Devil's advocate, she is not talking about the children that were about to get murdered. She was talking about the children playing on the playground and their screams that Sammy is equating with the murdered ones.
Oh,
And so
okay.
she's like, you can hear them like screaming while they're playing and stuff and equate it with like happiness, not they're gonna die.
Okay. That one, okay. Then maybe I was just not paying enough attention, but still, but still.
Yeah, it's that therapy session is was not well written.
No, no, not at all.
They used the same set pieces in a lot of this particular, like, subgenre of, like, low budget horror because a lot of the pieces that are used in Tooth Fairy are used in the Blood and Honey franchise and in the Humpty Dumpty one. So I think they're maybe starting from set pieces and actors and then creating things around that rather than having a story
Hmm.
and then casting for it and picking sets.
What IP is about to go into the public domain? And how can this chainsaw be used in it?
So, like, the Twisted Children cinematic universe, which is a thing that actually exists, is supposed to be the next ones are gonna be Peter Pan and gonna say Cinderella, but that's already been done. But there's, like, a Peter Pan one in the works, which is the horror movie version of that story, which
I mean, what? They've done Winnie the Pooh, they've done Mickey Mouse, they've done Popeye,
they did
The
Popeye?
Grinch. Uh huh. Yeah, it's Popeye. Popeye's Revenge, and that was a weird thing where there was actually twin movies about Popeye,
Really?
and they both went straight to streaming. Yeah,
Naturally. I actually the mean one was not as bad as I thought it would be.
I haven't gotten to see it yet.
It was not good, obviously, but it wasn't terrible. They do lean very aggressively into the one Jewish character. Like, it's mentioned in literally every scene that he's in that he's Jewish,
Mm,
or he'll just make, like, a comment that has nothing to do with the conversation about matzo ball soup.
makes sense in a Christmas movie.
Mhm.
Mm.
Well, it's because he's the only one that's safe from the Grinch. He's Jewish. What are they gonna steal? Hanukkah?
So the Grinch is only out here murdering Christians?
He's only out here murdering. I don't even remember what the plot of the actual, like, what the inciting incident was in this movie. But yeah, no, it's definitely played as though he is safe because he is Jewish.
The chosen people.
Not in this case.
To not be chosen by the Grinch.
Alright, so we've made it almost to the title card, right?
Yes. Yeah, this is the last scene before the title card, which has Sammy sitting on the couch. I don't think she was watching TV or anything. I think she was just sitting there, like, staring at the wall.
She was on her laptop. She was watching the video of a person doing their own dental extraction,
Oh, that's right. That's
where
right.
they start bleeding profusely because they did it wrong.
Did you know that was the Tooth Fairy? That's the Tooth Fairy actress?
But I
Was the
didn't.
dentist? Yeah.
Huh. Very much
Yeah.
not a dentist. She just
Um
takes pliers to rip out her teeth, which would have been a better weapon for the tooth fairy.
And then, yeah, spill some tomato juice on her mouth. Yeah, it's a real ridiculous scene. And she says that she's a licensed dentist and is going to use her expertise to teach you how to do it at home.
Did she? I thought she said you could use this if you were a licensed dentist or just a an aficionado.
No, she, she
God.
oh, I put in my notes, dental video is most batshit thing so far. She demonstrates the do's and don'ts when it comes to performing your very own home extraction. And in my opinion, there are no do's, and the only don't is don't do this at home. Do not attempt to extract your own teeth at home if they're not like already ready to come out. If you're having an issue, don't just say, "Yeah, I'll take a whack at it."
It very much gives the impression of there's a scene in a sitcom, I wanna say it's like New Girl, where one of the guys is, like, trying to do his own hair, and he's like, "I found this video, it's got, like, 10,000,000 views," and it's because the person misses when they're shaving and just cuts a giant chunk out of their scalp, so they're just bleeding, and he's like, "Oh, that's why it's so popular."
And so she gets interrupted by the tooth fairy knocking on the door. And the first thing I questioned was that she's like, "Who is it?" "It's me." And the door doesn't have a peephole on it. And this comes up again later on that there's no peephole. Is that just an American thing? Are peepholes just an American thing?
I think people are an everywhere thing.
Peephole.
If I remember correctly, peepholes are a thing in one of this director's other movies, which is the, like, Cult of Humpty Dumpty. So I don't think it is specifically an American thing.
Hmm. And then we get another flashback to the night of the event, and the Tooth Fairy is taking down the what we can surmise are the three people from the pool table picture, and on one of them uses a crowbar to extract the teeth from with. So she's pretty handy with whatever's around to get them teeths, get them pearly whites.
I don't know how I don't know that I've ever actually, like, used a crowbar, but I don't feel like they're narrow enough
No,
to appropriately remove
no, not at all.
your incisors.
I mean, in the flashback, she was just, like, tapping on the teeth with the crowbar, so I don't imagine that would do much.
In that case, what happens if they swallow their teeth?
Mhm.
Like,
I guess.
do you
I don't
wait
I
a
don't
bit?
know. They're dead. What's in their stomach isn't gonna be digested and then come out the other end.
That's fair. I mean, they wouldn't die, is still the hill I'm dying on,
They
but
wouldn't. None of these people, except for one at the end, would
yeah,
die.
2 at the end would die.
What? The friend of the house that she goes to, and then who else?
Meg, she gets stabbed in the side. It goes, like, straight through what I would imagine are some kind of organ.
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe.
She could reasonably bleed out.
That is yeah, okay, yeah. So Tooth Fairy goes back down the stairs because for whatever reason, the front door is at the top of the stairs, but she also has the bottom floor too. Like the bottom floor is like kitchen, maybe garage. I don't know. Upstairs is living room and bedroom. And it's the slowest where did they go scene of all time. That's just the worst. Then she comes up to a room that has an open door, and she's just staring at the door, and behind her is the Tooth Fairy, who comes up behind her with a child's hammer. It is a hammer meant for children. One bonk to the shoulder, not even the neck, just like the top of the shoulder, and then she's incapacitated and she's tied to a chair, and the she comes to in the video is playing of at home dentistry, and they have some back and forth. The Tooth Fairy kisses Sammy on the cheek, which is odd.
She ain't got no lips,
Yeah, and the mouth doesn't move, so I don't know how she makes that
but she still does the
sound. Yeah, there's still a visible smooch or a audible smooch, and then puts a giant flathead against Sammy's teeth and just starts chipping away with the hammer. And what's funny is after this, Sammy's head falls forward and the blood starts dripping out, and you can visibly see the blood capsule come out with the blood.
That's awesome, I did not catch that.
Oh, and this is where I first noticed that the Tooth Fairy's mouth does not move at all.
Yeah. I feel like it wouldn't have been a massive budget constraint if they had just maybe, like, cut the mouth in half or the bottom part of the mask and then just added some stuff that moved.
Yeah, you'd think so.
I don't think it would have been
Hey,
crazy.
we're here to churn these out in no time. We're not here to for realism.
Fair.
She stabs Sammy in the neck, and you can visibly see where she is putting the knife, and it's going behind the neck, and it's just the most fake rubber knife you've ever seen.
This movie was actually sponsored by Spirit Halloween.
This is all things you could remake this movie with a trip to Spirit Halloween, without a doubt. Do you know Spirit Halloween is owned by Spencer's?
I did, yeah.
Just a quick little side note. And then 20 minutes and 38 seconds is when you finally get the title card, and it just says Tooth Fairy, Drill to Kill.
I would have been totally cool if that was just the beginning to the end of the thing.
Yeah.
It was just 20 minutes and full arc.
Yeah. And then we go back to the school, and then it's its own movie, and it's so terrible. You want to take this next section?
So it cuts to Meg, who we now know is the sister of Sammy, and she is grieving for her sister who has been murdered in who knows how. They're looking. Not hard, but they're looking. And it goes almost to an almost identical scene of Meg doing the exact same thing that Sammy did, where she's sitting at the desk because she's back at work for the first time since all of this has happened
Sitting at Sammy's desk.
at Sammy's desk. Does the little like, I don't know if I should be here because all of this stuff has gone down. I don't know if I'm ready to be around the kids. And she confides in a different one of the teachers than Sammy did, obviously. And it's just it's like shot for shot,
Mm-hmm.
basically the beginning of the movie. And a little bit down the road, they decide that they want to do something nice for her because she's still clearly going through it. And so since her birthday is next week, they're going to have a little birthday celebration for her.
A surprise party.
A surprise party, yeah, with 4 members of the staff.
Who, except for security guards, seem to be the only employees of this school.
Correct. I don't I don't think that this takes place significantly later than the school day, but yeah, there's not a single other staff member or child in the building.
Nope.
They take her into the deeply weird, teacher's lounge, and they're popping prosecco,
Mm-hmm.
which immediately gets the one you know as the fun teacher hammered.
Yeah, because there's Ines, and I thought it was Inez, but they just kept saying Ines. I think at one point they did say Inez, and then they just stuck with Ines for the end of the movie, for the rest of the movie. And then there's Michael, who is a man in a very, very tight button-down shirt.
Mhm.
And then there's Becca, the teacher that wanted to throw the surprise party. And then there is Zara, yeah, the principal, or she's definitely the one in charge.
She's either the principal or just the buzzkill of the group.
Yeah, like the Angela.
Yeah. It's very clear, like, subtlety is not what they're going for here, obviously. And so it is very clear that Michael and Ines are going to get together because despite the fact that these people work in either a daycare or an elementary school, she is dressed in the tightest bodycon mini dress that I've seen possibly ever. It is optimistically about an inch below her butt cheeks.
Mhm.
She's in sparkly heels, and it is just like the least appropriate thing that you could possibly wear around a minor,
Yes.
only to be combated by Michael's more than skin tight button down. They they're doing the whole party thing. There's cuts to them getting fun, and then she spills something on her dress and decides that Michael needs to help her with it. She tries to do something in the bathroom, which have half doors. Wouldn't really recommend that because it's also right next to the teacher's lounge that all of their colleagues are currently partying in.
Which is where the scene from the beginning comes in where, the tooth fairy pops up behind. But there's not it's not in focus enough for you to tell what the hell's going on. But those are just half bathroom doors for children's bathrooms.
So they go up to one of their classrooms and are about to have sex, which is the biggest bait for a horror movie villain. And so out pops the Tooth Fairy to stab him directly in the back.
Mhm.
Instead of screaming, as literally no one in this movie does, despite the fact that all of them are like none of them have an injury that would prevent them from screaming bloody murder.
Mm-mm.
She lets the Tooth Fairy finish off Michael while she runs to the intercom. Stop it. She runs to the intercom and whispers over a school-wide intercom, "She's back. I need help." What are we doing? You're using an intercom.
Don't you hate when technology decides to crap out right when you're being chased by a murderous tooth fairy? It's the worst.
I don't think that one's a technology issue. Raise your voice.
Or that.
Speaking at a normal people volume would be fine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying scream into it.
It's funny because there are at least 3 points in this movie where the audio clips out, and that could have been one of them. That would have made sense. But instead, it was 3 other instances where it was very noticeable and it was a audio issue.
It's yeah, no. I mean, that maybe this was an issue with the movie and it was actually supposed to come through as something a little bit clearer. But yeah, they hear like one in every third word that she's whispering over the intercom. They're like, "Who? What? Did she just ask for help?"
Yeah. And in between there was actually one more teacher that we missed, that was pretty inconsequential. She was there for the birthday thing, planning in the teacher's lounge, and then just disappeared. She ended up running into the tooth fairy and said, "Hey, who are you?" And then
No, that's Zara.
no, that's coming later, but this happened before that. Uh, the tooth fairy runs in like the most awkward way you have ever seen, and it's not the only time this happens, but it was the first time, and it was so jarring because it was like a juke, and then she went around went around through a door and then ran down the hallway and then ends up in a classroom, and then the teacher, this woman was like, "That was weird." But anyways, and goes to her classroom and sits at the desk, and the tooth fairy just happened to pick the room that this woman works in and then kills her there. And yeah, whenever she falls to the ground, like 10 teeth just fall out of this woman's mouth, and she scoops them up and goes about her way. And there's also multiple times during this party where, for whatever reason, there's like party lights going on and loud music and people are dancing, and multiple people say this is a school night, and
By it being 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
the slutty teacher gets sent out to go check the doors because what if a parent came in and saw that they were drinking on a school night at the school? And it wasn't casual. Well, I mean, I guess it was casual drinks for 3 of them, but the 2 that went and got, they were definitely digging in pretty deep.
There was 5 people and 2 bottles of prosecco. I have questions.
I'm not even 100% sure what prosecco is. Was it strong? Was it weak? What is it?
Champagne.
Oh.
So, like,
Oh,
it's
so
not
okay. So you're not gonna
they
be
basically split 2 bottles of wine
hmm.
amongst 5 people, and the lady is out here using peach rings as glasses because she's so turned.
Oh, and then we meet, Milos, the security guard, who is in the movie for a grand total of, like, 2 minutes. He's listening to a radio broadcast about how the police are looking for an escaped mental patient, and that's all you hear, and then, Tooth Fairy knocks on the door, and these "I'm here for my son." This, like, very deranged, not human-looking person. "What what was his name? There's no students here." But I'll look, I'll check.
You do not need a last name for that because she literally just says Sammy.
His name's Sam. Sammy. Which you couldn't have come up with a different name. Come on. You already need to throw back to like 30 minutes ago. And so he was like, "Oh, there's no Sammy here. Ma'am? Oh, what? She's gone." And then that's when the too tight shirt guy gets killed, and then chases after or Tooth Fairy chases after Inas for a bit, and then she gets on the intercom. She's like, "Oh, she'll be busy with that for a couple minutes." So she goes back and finishes Michael off, takes his teeth out, and then comes back, and Inas goes running.
At least she does not try to do the Jurassic World thing and does eventually ditch her heels.
Yeah, that is true.
There's a weirdly lengthy upskirt shot as she's running down the stairs at this elementary school, which is
Yeah,
why I'm so bothered by the bodycon dress that she's wearing because what are you doing? Also, what are the filmmakers doing in this case?
we know what they're doing.
So the security guard, also in this case, is drunk because it's implied that he's a good bit of the way down the flask that he has. Just it's a novelty sized flask too. That thing is
It
big.
is. Yeah. And after Inas invites him into wherever the other ones are because they're having drinks, he's like, "Oh, no, I don't drink," while his flask is in full view of everyone sitting on this desk. Inez goes running. She runs into one of the kids' bathrooms. It's actually the same one we saw the Tooth Fairy in from the beginning of the movie. And the bathroom doors are wide open into the bathroom. And she's going to hide in a stall, which, okay, that's like horror movie 101. What you don't usually do is go into the stall that is directly behind the open door, which is what Inez does.
She also doesn't duck down behind this half door until after she is very clearly in view of the person chasing her.
And her feet are still on the floor. So she's not hiding from anyone.
She she's in the stall. The tooth fairy shockingly finds her hiding spot and just goes like under the door, just like swatting at it with the knife.
Just like slashing with her little plastic knife.
She doesn't move away. So both of her like the front of her ankles are just sliced.
Yeah, just bone. Just bone. No tendons, no ligaments, no muscle, just bone.
There's no actual slash marks, there's just a little bitty collection of fake blood, and then she opens the door and goes to run. She gets, like, 3, 4 steps out, realizes that, "Oh, no, I forgot she slashed my ankles, my not tendons," and so she just collapses to the ground. Several steps past when she was completely incapable of moving, and then the tooth fairy just takes her teeth and is done with it.
Just bonks her just like the last little on the forehead, and then all of a sudden it shook loose all these teeth. And that is where the 4 teeth fall out in the pool of drool blood, and she just scoops them up and goes about her merry way.
Maybe all of their teeth were rotted out because I can't possibly imagine that you could just, like, bonk me on the head and all of mine would
Maybe.
just come out.
It's
Maybe.
quite possible.
I don't know. I've never been hit in the head with a hammer, so I hope to never find out if my teeth really are just one little knock away from all coming out.
Yeah,
At least that way I could get giant veneers and be in Hollywood.
there you go. Look like Walton Goggins
I was thinking Miley.
or Miley, any of them.
Right. And so at this point she is chasing the Zara death is nothing. Zara finds the tooth fairy in the classroom and is like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
I disagree. I disagree
Okay,
because
by all means.
during that scene, there is visible boom mic.
There is, yeah.
in the bottom right corner of
It was so disorienting.
uh,
It's got the little, like, black and green just, like, waving across the
yeah.
edge.
And it wasn't like just the tip of it. It was like a good bit of the boom mic was just fully in frame.
I thought for a second that it was just, like, framed weird and there was just, like, another person there, but no.
But no,
So
there was another person there, the boom mic guy.
well, sure, yeah.
Uh,
Zara dies, uneventful.
yes,
Um, and now we are down to the last 2 survivors, which are Meg and Becca. They are there's also a lot of nothing that happens in this bit, but they are trying to call what is it, 999?
yes.
They're trying to call the police because they find a bunch of blood, and they find one of the bodies, right?
I don't think so.
Or do they just find blood?
They just found blood. They found the blood from Inas.
They find a bunch of blood. They're trying to call the police. Becca's phone is dead. Meg doesn't have hers. So Becca goes to find one of the phones like inside the school, which there are shockingly few of. And Meg comes essentially face to face with the Tooth Fairy, who is for some reason outside again.
Yes,
Sorry. This is after they have the whole moment with Zara, the maybe principal, who is standing against a wall, Blair Witch style.
turns, falls to the ground, and then catches herself. And yeah, and this is this is also another one of the ridiculous pop outs because the Tooth Fairy is hiding underneath the jungle gym, and she just pops out like, "Hey, I'm here," and then just starts starts running up to the door. Oh,
There's a prolonged moment where Meg is hiding under the desk, the security guard's desk, and the Tooth Fairy is just taunting her, talking about how Meg is the reason that her sister died and that she could have saved her, she could have done all these things, and now Sammy is dead. And she's like, "You're never gonna get in here." She calls her a bitch and all kinds of things. And then the Tooth Fairy is like slapping at the door. And she's like, "You're never gonna get in here." And then the Tooth Fairy is like, "Oh, actually," and
yeah.
then holds up the keys from Inas.
God, this
And
movie's so bad.
it would have redeemed the entire movie for me if it had just been one of those, like, cartoonishly giant rings of keys, and she's just trying every one of them to get into the front of the school. It would have made the movie a 10 out of 10 to me.
Yeah, well, the janitor dropped these. Give me 15 to 20 minutes. I'll get you.
Like, if does the door lock on its own? Because if so, why did Zara send the teacher after locking the front door, especially when there's a security guard? And if it doesn't lock on its own, why does the Tooth Fairy need keys to unlock it again? There was no one to lock it.
Hmm.
Everyone else in the school was already dead.
Well, I'm not Becca, Meg, she did lock it back once Becca came back inside after the whole Zara thing.
Oh, right.
So it was locked, but she used a deadbolt that was on the door. So you would think that that wouldn't have any effect from the key card opening. But, the logic was not top of mind for the screenwriters or filmmakers, directors, anyone involved in this movie.
That is true. So the Tooth Fairy has gotten back into the building, is chasing Meg, who runs like Phoebe from Friends. She's out here flailing as she's running through the halls. She does there's a lot of contenders for this position, but she does one of the most ridiculous things in the entire movie. She gets into a room that opens out. She gets into this room, puts a little bitty like desk in front of it, tops it with a tricycle for some
The only
reason.
child's desk in this entire school, apparently.
And she hides in the theater. It cuts to the other side of the door, and the Tooth Fairy is still chasing her. And she is beating on this door like it doesn't open towards her. You can pull it. Literally nothing is standing in your way from being able to open this door.
And then before she really got settled into this like little puppet display, she makes sure to close the curtains and still leaves like a 4-inch wide gap in between where you can still see her ass sticking in the air.
This is when you see the tooth fairy, come
I
in
love
on her
this
teeny
part.
tiny bicicleta. She rides
Uh,
it to the wall right behind Meg. Doesn't see that there's no back to this theater thing that Meg is in. Does not see her. She comes back into the front of the theater, goes around her to knock on a fake door.
she looks over the top and there's nothing over it. So she looks over and she's like, "Where you're hiding." And then you're like, "Okay, so she definitely sees her, but I guess didn't."
To be fair, she does have those little nostril eyes, so
Yeah, it's
I'm sure her field of view is not wide. I should have written this down with, like, timestamps because I think that would have been more helpful than just my all of my the notes that I have for this. So this is when she is like, the cops arrive, right?
yeah. She says, "Fine, if I can't get you, your friend had pretty teeth." And and so like, then why are you chasing Meg with such veracity and said, "I'm the one, you're the one I came for." But then you just have her in this room and now you're just going to leave?
The buildup for some reason. I don't know what she's got against this family. Maybe they were orthodontists. I there has to be some kind of reasoning that came up in Tooth Fairies 1 through 4.
I sure hope so.
I don't think that I will be going back to find out,
I'm good.
but I'm curious. I might look up the synopsis. And yeah, so she goes after Becca. The cops show up, and Meg and Becca, so happy to see each other alive, hug with a murderer still in the building with them for a solid 45 seconds. There are two gigantic hugs.
The cops are here. We're safe. She's gone.
Maybe wait until the tooth stealing murderer is in handcuffs before you hug, because that is how you get got.
There was some tension between them for most of the movie, and that was one of the moments.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. So, shockingly, they don't find her.
No way.
I know, right? Wild. Meg and Becca are talking to the cop, trying to relive all of these events. Are you sure it was her? Yes, I'm sure it was her.
The same cop from last time. This police force is a force of one.
It's a one man band over there. They have this conversation with the cop. All is right with the world, theoretically. They've got all their
Middle of the day too.
yeah,
They're next to a window and it's bright and shiny.
all the king's horses, all the king's men are on this case. They go back home and suddenly nighttime.
Out of nowhere. So
Suddenly
I stand
nighttime.
corrected. Two nighttime scenes.
Suddenly nighttime. The cop is out on patrol and the tooth fairy sneaks up behind him, kills him, takes his gun.
So he has his gun drawn and he's walking around the perimeter of the house and he, for whatever reason, goes over to the grill. He opens the grill and sets his gun down. I was expecting to see like some like roasting teeth or something on the grill or something that would have indicated why he would need to open the grill when he's looking for somebody. And the gun teleports to the tooth fairy's hand. She pistol whips him like the lightest little tap on the back of the head you've ever seen, and then he's dead.
No, she hits him with the hammer and
No,
then
she
takes his
doesn't.
gun. Yes, she
Mm-mm.
does.
No, she doesn't. I had to
100% she does.
rewind it. I had to rewind it like 4 or 5 times because they find her hammer at the school. So obviously that's evidence now. So the police are at the school. He said that they're searching the school for evidence. They're searching for the lady. And so if you go back and watch it, he sets his gun down on the grill. She comes up behind him with his gun and pistol whips him in the back of the head. And all of a sudden he's completely unconscious and unresponsive. Go back and look.
Man, am I gonna have to go watch part of this movie?
You will. You are going to have to.
So they find the hammer at the school. How does she have it again for the last scene?
Exactly. Exactly. Apparently, all these people just carry baby hammers around in their house. I don't know.
Okay. So somehow, despite the fact that they were just in incredible danger from a person that is on the loose looking for those two specifically, they don't know for sure that all the doors are locked. Feels like a thing that you would be very picky about until the end of your days.
And they wait until someone knocks on the door to go check
So this exchange is not very long. Becca is shot.
through the keyhole in the door. And again, peephole would have come in handy.
I mean, this movie was made in 2022 and seems to be set in present day, so, like,
Or a Ring
Ring camera?
cam? Yeah,
Yeah.
something.
Get a little bit of security.
And also, so Becca couldn't use her cell phone whenever they were being chased because her phone was dead. So she had to go find a landline, which she found. They come back to the house. I'll call the police. Oh, my phone's dead. Don't you think if you're in that kind of a situation, the first thing you would do is charge your phone?
She was traumatized.
No, because, well, Meg is
She was
pissed.
in shock.
She's like, "What do you mean? You said whenever you got home, the first thing you were going to do was charge your phone." And then Becca's response is, "Well, where's your phone? I left it at the school." "Well, I'm going to go charge it real quick, and as soon as it's charged, I'll call the police." And so while she's waiting for it to get charged, she goes to the door. Hello, who is it?" And then the tooth fairy's on the other side of the door. Just has the gun just right there on the keyhole.
The mail slot, right?
No, it was the keyhole. And then you hear a shot, and then the flash from the muzzle is inside the house. There's like a strobe. And then she walks in on Becca, who's on the floor with just some stuff spattered on her eye.
Super chill. You hear a gunshot in your house and you know you don't own a gun, and you know your friend is out by the door and there's a murderer outside. She's just like, "Huh, what was that noise?"
Well, this was at Becca's house. They're
This
at Becca's house.
I thought this was a oh, okay.
Yeah, because she said, "You can stay here tonight, and then however long else after that you need to." And then Meg was like, "I might take you up on that." That was tension number 2
Yeah.
or 3. Maybe it was 3, but yeah.
So the Tooth Fairy delivers something with the exact same amount of force as killed everyone else in this movie to this point. Just kind of stuns Meg. She sits her at a table across from Becca.
Who's dead?
She's tied to a chair incredibly loosely and decides to start monologuing about why she's like this.
"You sly dog, you got me monologuing."
From the 60-second plot thing earlier, the reason that she is like this is because when she was young, it was just her and mother and her, and
That's an exact line from this movie.
it is, yeah. She would have to brush her teeth before dinner. Feels like an odd choice. Not my place to judge, I suppose. She had to brush her teeth before dinner. If she didn't brush her teeth before dinner, she would be punished because her mother believed that the devil essentially came through cavities. And so it created this complex in this escaped mental patient acting as the tooth fairy. And so now she needs to rid the devil from people by killing them and taking their perfectly healthy teeth.
Yes.
Becca, or not Becca, Becca is still dead across the table.
With no exit wound, by the way. She's face
Yeah,
down
no,
and
it's still in there. Yeah.
her hair is pristine.
Meg unties herself, starts grappling with the tooth fairy.
Did you notice how the tooth fairy flinched because she knew that Becca was about or Meg was about to get up?
Oh, I didn't catch that. No,
Yeah.
that is awesome. Meg gets up and is like grappling with the tooth fairy, grabs the gun, does the same thing that everyone in a bad horror movie does. Get like kill him and ask questions later. You don't need to monologue. You don't need to say this one's for my sister, which is not what she does, but it is pretty damn close.
I didn't realize, like, I knew the UK had very strict gun laws. I didn't realize that officers there were only allowed to carry 1 bullet in their gun.
To be fair, it was a water gun spray painted black. So I would imagine it had to do some serious modding to be able to hold that single bullet. We don't know that the cop didn't shoot the grill or something outside. Maybe
Just
he was doing
shooting
target
cans.
practice before this. Yeah. And this was just the last bullet that killed Becca.
Oh,
So
I gotta save this one in case shit goes down.
so Meg is out here monologuing now. Gun pointed at the tooth fairy. Shocker. There are no bullets.
Oh, man.
Tooth Fairy gets the upper hand. They wrestle for a little bit. Meg runs to the door, is trying in slow motion to undo the latches that she literally just did. So, how they could confuse her baffles me. Is trying to undo these latches in slow motion. Tooth Fairy walks up to her.
Just saunter.
Yeah. Stabs her inside. The end.
And then there wasn't any inclination of who the tooth fairy was talking to, but it's a Tarantino vantage point from the trunk or the hatch of what we can assume. Oh, I don't know. It wouldn't be I wouldn't think that it would be Sammy's car, but looks very similar. And she says, "I'm taking you with me," and then closes it, and then credits roll. And there you go. There's Tooth Fairy, drill to kill with absolutely no drills, and really nothing
And no kills, if we're being for realsies.
except for a few, yeah, that would actually kill anybody. Even a knife to the kidney, you can survive. You can get to the hospital.
She puts the chisel, like, all the way in her, I'm pretty sure.
Mm,
I mean, she could absolutely survive it. All
mm.
of them have the survival instincts of a lemming, but,
Well, I mean, we haven't really worked out this system yet, what our grading scale is going to be.
I had 2 different I had 2 different ratings for this movie.
Oh, okay.
I gave this movie 1 molar. Alternatively, I give this movie 0 drills because why was her weapon a hammer?
Yeah, I don't know.
Those are my ratings. It's either 1 molar or 0 drills.
Yeah, I mean, that's being generous. If I were writing a review, it would be, I give this 1 molar, but that's only because it won't let me give it 0 molars. I just it I could not find as soon as it was over, I could not find a redeeming quality out of any of it.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I couldn't point to something and say, "You know, that part at least that part was well done."
Yeah. I I was trying to be like devil's advocate the whole movie, and I was trying to find that one thing that was just like, I mean, at least whatever. The setting makes no sense. The whole thing is filmed during
Mm-mm.
the day, despite the fact that it takes place from what I would imagine is 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. ish of the next day.
Mhm.
The characters are, to put it mildly, a bit flat.
One-dimensional.
The death scenes are feel like they were supposed to have been sped up in post, but maybe it would have made the runtime a little too short. Again, the actually, I don't know if this was, before we started recording or after, but in a great deal of the time that the Tooth Fairy is using a knife, she uses the back of it. She uses the flat side of this knife,
She
and
does.
it somehow cuts what we're supposed to assume, I believe, is the Achilles tendon,
From the front of the foot, yeah.
as well as cutting is the extra teacher that I forgot about, is that the one where she does, like, the smile cut?
Yes.
Does, like, the dahlia? Okay. That is done with the back of the knife.
Mhm.
The amount of just, like, if your goal is to take out people's teeth, why not go for pliers? I know it's a little thing, but why not go for pliers?
Why not?
Or if you're gonna use a hammer and a chisel for some reason, maybe kill them first so that you can get, like, actual like, the whole teeth out instead of just the little above ground pieces.
I don't think forethought is really the tooth fairy's, MO. I couldn't tell you what really her MO is because it seems to be all over the place. She doesn't seem to have a certain goal in mind or a task that she is hoping to achieve, but, yeah, I mean, if I had to pick someone out of the movie that would should maybe have this one scrubbed from their IMDb, I think it'd probably be Becca. She was fine. She was alright. The rest of them deserve it. They deserve to have them followed by Tooth Fairy, Drill to Kill for the rest of their careers.
The next time that I have an hour and a half to spare and literally nothing on my to-do list, I think I might watch Tooth Fairy: Queen of Pain, which is the 4th one in this franchise, because it does give backstory for this trip, I believe, that killed everyone but Sammy.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna need some time to cleanse this one from my palate first, but, yeah, I'd be willing to take a whack at it.
Okay, so what is your final rating?
Brush your teeth or take the punishment is what I took away from this movie. Imma start using that too. Imma start using that at bedtime.
Uh-huh.
Brush your teeth or take the punishment.
And this is done before dinner, correct?
Yes, obviously, and then after too, because
They
obviously.
also have to brush their teeth after dinner? It didn't specify that she had to brush her teeth after dinner.
I would assume to create such a psychosis that this girl just spent her entire childhood just brushing her teeth nonstop, and that's how they grew so big.
Did she brush her teeth so much that her lips wore away?
Her lips wore away
So
and her
big
teeth
and
grew so
strong.
big because they were so healthy from being so clean, and then they fused together.
I might never brush my teeth again.
Oh, what a steaming pile of a waste of our time.
What a movie, man.
What a movie.
What a movie. All right. So if you were to fix the plot, if you had if you could save this movie,
Okay.
what would you do?
First thing I would do would be redesign the Tooth Fairy because it's ridiculous. I would probably give her a dental backstory, a dentist gone rogue. Um,
She was a dentist or she was abused by a dentist?
no, she was a dentist and just went crazy and started believing that the devil hides in rotten teeth. I would make her more uh choosy. If that's gonna be her thing, it's gonna be rotten teeth, then okay, someone's drinking a soda, boom, dead. Someone is enjoying a nice glass of water. You get to live.
Okay. I saw floss in their trash can. They're
There you
fine.
go. Yeah. Yeah, they're good. They're good. Yeah, and then as far as I wouldn't put it in a school because the school had nothing to do with anything. It just seemed like the only place that they could get to film was at a school, and therefore they had to make the story revolve around a school. Yeah, I mean, if you're using the same actors and all that, then I think those changes could be enough. I would take out the first 20 minutes, all the stuff with Sammy, unnecessary. And then yeah, I think that could turn this from a steaming pile into something that is still bad, but there's still parts of it that you could remember. What What about you?
If I were to make adjustments to this movie, I would go one of two directions. One, if I'm gonna keep the plot line and all of the acting and things the way that it is, I would lean a little bit more scary movie. I would just up the ante on the ridiculous props. We're keeping the tricycle, obviously. You could honestly do a genuine like kids hammer, one of the ones that's plastic and like fun colors, because it's just as effective as the hammer that she's using.
One that squeaks?
Yes, just one of those little like gavels. I think that'd be fun.
Uh,
Maybe give her a fun little set of, like, scars on her back, like she maybe had wings at one point, because
oh,
she's a deranged person, so I don't feel like an injury like that would be out of the question. Maybe she was
okay.
convinced that she was, in fact, at one point, the Tooth Fairy, and then she fell from grace, and now she's out for revenge because why not?
Or make her the actual tooth fairy,
Or make her the actual Tooth Fairy, for sure,
like a murderous pixie.
and then you go after candy execs.
There you go.
Luigi Mangione style. If I were legitimately fixing this movie, I think that I wouldn't necessarily take out the Sammy thing because I do know that it connects to the previous films, but I would shorten it and I would establish at the beginning that Meg and Sammy are sisters. I think the school thing is fine technically, but I think there's ways to go about establishing these kind of like traumatic backstories and stuff without them having the like shimmery, like, fade to a flashback kind of things when they look at a
Yeah,
photograph. Like, it's just bad. It's bad storytelling. And then for the gore stuff, I would give the actors or possibly the camera people more training in either stage fighting or perspective, because I think there's a way to make it look like someone has actually been hit by the thing. But
mhm,
there's one scene in the entire movie where the tooth fairy looks like she has actually physically hit the person that she is trying to assault, and that is at the very end, that's, Meg, because she goes hard with that hammer, but the rest of them, it's just like a little bunk, and then they're dead. If they used a little bit more time on, like, the special effects and stuff, you could use more than just blood caps and do actual like, the you could even get, like, the cheap, like, scar tissue makeup stuff, and I don't think that would be dramatically different, but I
yeah,
think it would make a lot of changes to the quality of the movie if it looked like anyone had actually gotten hurt by the things that happened to them. Like, especially
maybe some more squibs.
yes. Yeah, I would add some, like, VFX kind of makeup, and I think that would honestly do a great deal to the movie. It would
I agree.
bring it up to, like, maybe a bicuspid, a canine.
Mm, what are your front teeth called?
I think those are incisors, aren't they?
I don't know.
I did definitely Google the different types of teeth. so that I could make this nonsense rating system.
Uh, well, all in all,
It was a movie.
the only reason I could think of for people to watch this movie is if they want to confirm all the idiocy that we described in this episode.
I think it is a fun watch if you have literally nothing better to do with your time. If you are like
Yes,
me and you have a fascination with low budget horror movies, this movie is for you. Is it good? No, it's an absolute waste of your time.
100%.
Is it worth a watch? Jokingly, yes. If you watch it alone, I don't think it's worth it. If you're watching it with another person so that you can mock it the whole time, maybe.
I watched it solo. I don't recommend.
I did too.
I almost fell asleep like 2 or 3 times.
I mean, we didn't necessarily like we watched it solo, but I also feel like this makes up for that. So if this were the
Yeah,
like if we were watching it together, I think it would be fun. Not for a
yeah,
quality standpoint, but just as a way to pass some time.
yeah. All right. Well, that is our first movie review in the books. Let us know what you thought at on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Cash Exchange Pod, email cashexchangepod@gmail.com. While you're there, if you could subscribe, if you could drop a few likes, if you liked anything, leave us a comment and tell us how you really feel, but be nice about it. Don't be an asshole.
If you've seen this movie, let us know your perspective. Are we completely are we completely off base? Is this a cinematic masterpiece? I would absolutely love to have that conversation.
If we have been misled by starting at the fifth movie in the series, let us know if 1 through 4 are worth the watch.
I will do my best next time to not choose something so deep into a franchise I didn't know existed. I will not just suggest the names that did not. And on that note, we're out.
We'll see you.